Hey guys, John here from Bring the SEO. Today I want to talk about SEO checklists. SEO checklists can certainly be useful because they ensure consistency, they ensure actual completion of the tasks, they can sometimes help with efficiency, and it certainly helps deliver or make internal processes far more structured. However, a common problem that I see amongst a lot of SEO consultants and agency owners is that they misuse these SEO checklists. And I don't think it's always intentional. I think it's a case of, hey, we need to follow an SEO checklist because that's what everyone else is doing. And maybe this is through no fault of their own. In fact, I see this behavior a lot, having worked with a number of SEO consultants over the years. There's this trend that exists where they're doing things simply because everyone else is doing them, not because they've actually stopped and thought, or even asked the question, why are we doing this? Okay, so I'm going to go through a couple of quick pointers now with you that I've scribbled down on my list here. Just as a bit of a thought experiment, I want you to think about this not so much as a, hey, stop using SEO checklists, but more of a, what are we actually doing? Is this the right thing to do? Does this even make sense? And could we be doing this in a more efficient and better way? Okay, problem number one with SEO checklists, your entire focus is solely centered around technical SEO. Now, this is where you get into a situation where you're just working your way through a checklist with no other intention or purpose or objective than to simply complete what's covered in the checklist. Now that might sound fine, but this is where you get caught up marking things off like title tag does not exceed 60 characters. Meta description tag is less than 200 pixels. H1 tag is bold. Schema markup is present on the page. So the problem is that you're focusing all of your efforts around technical SEO with absolutely no sense of awareness around the business objectives, what the client's trying to achieve, KPIs, or anything that has anything to do with the desired outcome. You're essentially just working through a checklist in order to mark things off in a Google Sheet, maybe feel clever about yourself, and end up in a position where you can include the things that you've done, those technical tasks, in some kind of report. Now, of course, that doesn't make any sense, and this is my lead into problem two, which is you're not being paid to do SEO. Now, this might cause a lot of confusion because you think, oh, hang on a minute, I've been hired to do SEO. What are you talking about? What you have to understand is the client isn't paying you to do SEO. They're paying you to help them sell more widgets. They're paying you to help get more reservations. They're paying you to help get more booked calls. They're paying you to get more appointments. They're not paying you to do technical SEO. And this is where I think there's a massive breakdown and miscommunication, and certainly a misalignment of goals and objectives when you've got a client over here who's frustrated with an SEO agency, and then the client is saying, hey, well, that's great that you're doing all of these things, but when's the phone going to ring? When are we going to sell some product? Point number three, this is another big problem. You're presenting completed tasks as the service delivery or the delivery of service, right? This kind of touches back on my point that I touched on just a second ago, whereby you're presenting your clients with the report, and in that report, there's a whole bunch of itemized things that you've done. Adjusted title tags, adjusted meta description tags, added keyword-rich images on this page, implemented schema. Oh, hang on a minute, that's all well and good, but that's not why you've been hired. This revisits my previous point. I see a lot of SEO consultants that think, firstly, they've been hired to do SEO, and secondly, they've been hired to do these tasks and then present those tasks to the client with the thought process of this is what they wanted, this is what they're getting, and this is what we're going to present to them, and this is essentially where their money's being spent. It's got to be really, really careful that you don't go back to clients saying, look at all this big list of technical stuff that we've done. Isn't that wonderful? In fact, I've seen a lot of fairly respectable people in the SEO space actually encourage this type of behavior. And In fact, I heard one of them say not too long ago, you want to go to them and mark these things off in a checklist and show them and say, look at all of the work that we've done. Clients won't give a shit unless the phone's ringing and they're making sales, getting customers and making sales. The next point here, and this is a huge problem around SEO checklists, is the lack of prioritization. Most often than not, SEO checklists are just being used as a blanket, kill sheet, if you like, for every single campaign, and there's no sense of prioritization. In other words, they're not asking the client the question, where do you want us to focus? What products or services make you the most amount of money? Where can we focus our efforts, or where should we focus our efforts initially? They're not doing that. They're not having that conversation. They're not asking the question. They're just going, boom, let's start on this. Let's start working our way through this checklist. And what happens there is that they find themselves on an end-of-month strategy session or in a meeting with a client saying, hey, look at all these things that we've done. We've fixed up the schema tags on the about page, and we've adjusted the title tags on the contact page. And the client's sitting there thinking, well, hang on a minute. Why are you focusing on that first? Shouldn't we be doing this? And this brings me to my final point, misalignment of goals and objectives. If you've got the client that's saying, hey, we want to sell more widgets, and you're over here saying, look at all of this wonderful technical SEO that we've done, they'll be thinking, I don't think we're having the same conversation here. And that's a huge problem. Now, I want to finish this video up by saying this. There's nothing wrong with using SEO checklists, but use those checklists only in a way that helps you accelerate the process around what actually matters for your clients. I talk a lot inside my community about how everyone should be niching down, doing one thing extremely well, productizing their service offering, and using checklists, operational checklists that help accelerate the objective or the end goal that the client is actually trying to achieve. A client will not call you and say, listen, we want you to muck around in WordPress adjusting title tags and we'll pay you $3,000 a month. What client ever called and said that? They don't. They call and they say, listen, we want to sell more of these machines because each time we do, we make $7,500. Okay, these are two completely different things. Anyway, that's it from me. Hope you've enjoyed this one. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers. Hey, if you've enjoyed this video and you'd like to learn more, head over to bringtheseo.com. We provide business development training for SEO consultants wanting to improve their processes, increase profits, and scale to $100,000 a month or more without all the stress and overwhelm.